Toolhead board replacement guide for the X2D. Always power off and disconnect power before maintenance. Removing the Toolhead circuit board. Step 1. Remove the Toolhead cover. Open the printhead front cover. Press the connector latch and gently pull it perpendicular to the connector to unplug the cable. Use an H1.5 Allen key to remove the 4 screws on each side of the Toolhead rear cover. Gently wiggle the Toolhead rear cover to loosen the locking tabs. Avoid excessive force to prevent tab breakage. Now, press the pneumatic coupler and pull the PTFE tube straight out. Then, slide the flow blocker lever to the right. Use a wrench to loosen the pneumatic coupler by turning it counterclockwise. Then, remove the tube. Remove the printhead mid-housing by unscrewing the 4 screws located on the sides. Gently slide the housing off the toolhead. Avoid excessive force to prevent tab breakage. Now for step 2, removing the TH board. It is best to use tweezers to gently loosen the connector tabs and unplug all cables from the board. Now, let's remove the connections sequentially. Finally, unplug the Toolhead camera cable. Once the cables are clear, use your H1.5 Allen key to remove the 4 screws securing the TH board. Now, you will need to unplug the TH board cable. Unplug the cable by gently shimming it up and down. Continue this motion while pulling the connector to the side until it smoothly disconnects. Moving to step 3, removing the Toolhead interface board. Use your H1.5 hex key to remove the single screw on the side of the left filament cutter square rod. Nest them in a secure position where they won't interfere with your work. Once the left side is clear, repeat the process on the right. With the levers clear, use your H1.5 Allen key to remove the 2 screws on the reinforcement bracket. Start by peeling off the protective wiring foam. Do not throw this away, as you will need it to reseal the connections during reassembly. Address the 4 sensor connections on the board. First, disconnect the left eddy sensor. Gently remove the right extruder filament sensor and the right eddy sensor. Then, proceed to open the locking tab for the left extruder filament sensor and remove the cable. Once the sensors are disconnected, use an H1.5 Allen key to remove the 2 screws securing the board. With the screws removed, you can take off the Toolhead interface board. Use your tweezers to carefully clear the silicone glue and detach the logo LED cable from the board. Step 4. Remove the hot end heating assembly interface board. Disconnect the left and auxiliary heating assembly cables from the board. You can now safely remove the interface board. Install the new Toolhead circuit board. Step 1. Install the hot end heating interface board. First, position the new hot end heating assembly interface board above the extruder. Carefully ensure that no cables are pinched between the board and the Toolhead block. Next, connect the cables for the left hot end heating assembly and the right auxiliary heating assembly to their respective ports on the board. Step 2. Install the Toolhead interface board. First, plug the logo LED cable back onto the new board. Now, position the interface board directly above the toolhead block. Be extremely careful not to pinch the cable from the heating interface board underneath it. Use your H1.5 Allen key to secure the 2 screws. With the toolhead assembly open, it's time to reconnect the sensor array to the interface board. First, plug in the right eddy sensor. Next, connect the right extruder filament sensor, followed by the left extruder filament sensor. Finally, finish by connecting the left eddy sensor. As you plug each one in, ensure the connector is aligned and seated fully. Place the reinforcement bracket back into position. Use your H1.5 Allen key to tighten the 2 screws and secure the bracket in place. Once all 4 are connected, smooth the protective foam back over the board to secure the wires and protect the terminals. Now for step 3, installing the TH board. Start by connecting the main toolhead cable to the board's interface. Ensure the cable is properly seated and secured. Next, align the board with the screw positioning posts on the back of the toolhead block. Use your H1.5 Allen key to tighten the 4 screws. Finally, reconnect the remaining cables. Take care to seat each connector fully without forcing the pins. Now, let's place the cutter lever assemblies back into position. As you lower each lever, look closely at the lower end of the square rod. You must ensure that the notch at the bottom of the rod correctly engages with the cutter assembly handle. If the notch isn't properly seated, the lever will not be able to drive the handle to cut the filament. Once the rod is seated, depress the lever manually to ensure a smooth, unobstructed movement. Install the toolhead cover. Install the toolhead mid-housing. Align the notch on the housing with the cable chain bracket and press it forward. Ensuring the housing clicks into place without obstructing the lens or pinching any internal cables. Install the PTFE tube for the auxiliary extruder onto the pneumatic coupler. Use the wrench to tighten the coupler clockwise, securing the right side tube into place. Next, push the flow blocker lever to the left. Insert the left PTFE tube into the left coupler. Gently pull the tube to verify it is properly seated and locked. Now, proceed to tighten the 4 screws on the toolhead mid-housing to secure the frame. Then, install the toolhead rear cover. Align it with the assembly and press firmly, ensuring all locking tabs are properly engaged. Once seated, secure the 4 screws on the sides. Install the toolhead front cover assembly. Take the connector extending from the extruder connection board and plug it into the port located on the toolhead front cover. Organize the cables neatly within the housing, then close the cover, adjust until the magnets snap into place.